How you doing? This is Coach DeCarlo. Today we're going to talk about lifestyle follows beliefs. I had a lot of conversations going on about one of my recent videos, and I want to discuss that. A lot of people think that what I'm doing is contradicting Neville. No, what I'm doing is amplifying Neville. But let me say this, that nobody creates a new law. What do I mean? Laws have been established for tens of thousands of years, and they've been proven time after time. What happens is we discover a law, and then we give a theory around that law, and we call it a principle. Now, for example, the theory of relativity. Einstein didn't create that. He created the theory of relativity. But as far as relativity goes, it already existed. Newton didn't create the law of gravity, he discovered it. Said that he was sitting up under an apple tree and an apple fell on his head. And of course he came up with the theory of gravity. But gravity already existed. The law of sowing and reaping, for example. As you sow, so shall you reap. That was a principle that was discovered. And it was discovered probably by accident. A farmer noticed that a person, I don't even want to call him a farmer at this point because they may have not been a farmer, but they discovered that when seeds fell to the ground, they grew. And so they started experimenting. Of course, they tried it with corn, they tried it with wheat, and they found no matter what it was that they planted in the ground, it grew after its kind. So then we discovered that the inverse must also be true. Now, what's the inverse? That as a man thinks, so is he, so does he, so becomes he. So we understand that as we give our attention to something, then that something is out pictured. But many of us stop at as a man thinks. And we forget that, first and foremost, the scripture says, as a wicked man thinks in his heart, so is he. Somebody said, well, listen, if this applies to the wicked man, it also must apply to the righteous man. And this is true. It doesn't matter who applies the law will work for that person just the same. So a wicked man can create wealth if he's thinking right, and a righteous man can create wealth if she is thinking right. So it doesn't matter who's using the principle, but as you sow, so shall you reap. So what are you reaping in consciousness? One of the other things that's missing when we talk about as you sow, so shall you reap, it says, as a man thinks in his heart. So this is not even thinking at a conscious level. Many of us are casting out prayers, thoughts at a conscious level, but at a subconscious level, we have all kind of turmoil going on, and we haven't cleared up that energy. I will often say that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Now, whatever you call yourself as a vibrational being, but science, theologians, writers, artists, everybody agrees that we're spiritual beings, vibrational beings, energy beings, having a human experience. So once we understand that, then we have to ask ourselves, what are we vibrating at a heart level? Many of us are not bringing about our manifestation because of what we're vibrating at a heart level. Now, at a conscious level, we're affirming, and this is important because eventually that affirmation can turn into a subconscious belief. But at a subconscious level, we have all of these layers of stuff going on that we really don't believe that we can manifest more money, for example, because we've been told at a very early age that money is the root of all kind of evil. And some of us just scrapped it all together and said money's evil, or rich people are evil. So we have all these layers going on at a subconscious level, but yet we're affirming before we go to sleep at a state akin to sleep. We're in a relaxed state and we're saying, I'm a multimillionaire. Now, when we wake up, nothing changes. And we wonder, why is it that I'm not manifesting? I'm using these principles of Neville and it's not working for me because we haven't cleared, forgiven, revised that which we believe at a subconscious level. When we begin to believe that money's good, that money's neutral, that money isn't evil, that I deserve money, money comes to me easily and effortlessly, when that becomes our subconscious belief, Then, of course, we begin now at a state akin to sleep. We go to sleep with that thought, and miraculously, money starts to manifest in our lives. What happened? We changed our vibrational level. When we begin to change what it is that we're vibrating, then we begin to change our world. Neville called this being in state. And like I said, writers beyond Neville, hundreds, thousands of years beyond Neville, talked about states, consciousness, and so forth. So this isn't anything new, but what Neville did was he packaged it into his own package, as it were, and made this great revelation of, going to the end. But going to the end, understand this. When you're living in the end, you're doing nothing more than as you sow, so shall you reap. Now, what do I mean? In the end, the farmer says, listen, I want to plant corn. The farmer decides that he's going to purchase some corn seed kernels, and he's going to plant them in the ground. He plants the kernels in the ground, waters and does what he needs to do, and of course, it gives forth a harvest. So now you say, well, how does this apply to me, Coach? Well, listen. As you sow, so shall you reap, living in the end. When you're living in the end, what you're doing is looking about your harvest. What is it that you want to reap? So you want to reap a loving relationship. So you begin living in the end of your loving relationship. And let's make it clear. When we're talking about living in the end, you're doing it in your mind's eye. You're seeing yourself being, doing, having that person. When you're living in the end, you're operating from a state of being. Now you're actually that person who can attract wealth, who can attract a loving relationship, who can attract better health. When you're operating from a state of being, you're not struggling. So this is absolutely correct. You're not struggling to get in. Mr. Linder will often say this. You either stroll in or you don't get in. And this is so true. So when I talk about works, I'm not saying that you have to work to make this stuff happen. You don't. What you're doing is you're doing it because it is happening. You do the works that you do, not because you're trying to make something happen, but because you're operating from the state of being. Listen, if you're operating from a state of being, you're not operating from a place of lack if you're operating from a state of being of abundance. If you're operating from a state of being of love, then you're not operating from a state of being of hate, for example. If you're operating from a state of being of abundance, then you're not operating from a state of being of lack. You understand what I'm saying? What I'm telling you is that you have to get into the vibrational state of what it is that you desire. But your vibrational state is not going to contradict your lifestyle. Lifestyle always follows beliefs. You can tell me what it is that you believe, but give me 24 hours with you and watch how you live, and I'll know what it is that you believe. Your beliefs are not going to contradict your lifestyle. So if you're operating from a place of abundance, you're going to start living an abundant lifestyle. If you're operating from a place of health, you're going to start living from a healthier lifestyle. That's just a byproduct. Listen, an apple tree is not going to try to live out as being an orange tree. It's impossible. Likewise with you creators, you begin to operate, not struggle, not fight, but begin to live from the desired state. You're going in the end, and it says living in the end. Not just thinking in the end, but living in the end. You begin living as the person that you desire to be. Lifestyle follows. Once you begin believing a certain thing, whatever your beliefs are, you're living them out. You can say whatever you want. You say, Coach, I'm doing this. But if you're not living out what it is that you say that you believe, you don't believe that thing. When you start really believing, you embody the thing that you say that you believe. See, many people think that they can believe one thing and live contrary to what it is that they say that they believe. Beliefs are always going to show up in your lifestyle, no matter what it is that you say that you believe. So again, as you sow, so shall you reap. You decide what it is that you want to reap, to manifest, to do, to have, to be. That's the reaping. So you go into the end, you do the inverse. It says, as you sow, so shall you reap. So you get into a state of reaping or having what it is that you want. And you say, who do I need to occupy? What state do I need to occupy to be this person? Then you begin living from that person. This is not a struggle. Understand that. When you begin living from the state of wealth, health, loving relationships. This is not a struggle that you do. You do it because that's who you are. Nobody has to force you to be more loving. That's what you're vibrating. Whatever it is that you're vibrating at a heart level. It says, as a man, woman thinks in his or her heart, so is she, so does she, so has she. Many people are trying to live contrary to their core beliefs, and they're wondering why it's not working. The truth of the matter is, it's working 100% of the time. As you sow, so shall you reap. You have to ask yourself, why am I sowing this type of seed? Because if your harvest keeps showing a harvest of lack, then you can know that your belief system is a belief system of lack. Now, yes, you can get into that state akin to sleep. You start there, and you may not even believe it at first. You do the affirmations, you do the visualizations, but ultimately, it's going to become who you are. And when that state becomes who you are, then of course, you're going to start bringing about more of that. Whatever state that you're occupying at the moment, that's what you're manifesting in your world. And if that's what keeps showing up, then you have to go in and do some deeper work and say, okay, I have to clear, forgive, revise some of this old stuff that's keeping me blocked. So when I talk about revision, Neville says, revision also an act of forgiveness. You forgive yourself. It says, blessed is the man, the woman, who does not condemn themselves for the things which they have allowed. Whatever it is that you've allowed in your past, forgive yourself and forgive others. What you want to do is be clear so that you have no blockage that's keeping you from manifesting your good. As you get clear of this blockage, what you're going to find is more of your good's going to happen. But a lot of us want to manifest, let's say, an SP, but we haven't cleared up the garbage in that previous relationship and so forth. So it doesn't fall into the past, but it advances into our future. We're always thinking ahead of the evidence. What evidence are you seeing morning, noon, and night? If you can look at your evidence, what you're reaping, the harvest, then you can do a reverse and say, okay, if I change the way that I believe about this thing, then that's going to change my harvest. And this is absolutely so. So when you change what it is that you believe, going in the end, seeing yourself as already being, doing, and having, when that becomes your subconscious belief as a man, woman thinks in his or her heart, this is going to be the outpicturing in your reality. I've talked to many of you, and you weren't bringing about the manifestation of the thing that you desired. And the first thing that I told you was you have to begin occupying that state. You have to be at a vibrational level of the thing that you want to manifest. We learned about magnets in school, how, polars, opposites repel, and those that are alike attract. So many of us are repelling the thing that we're seeking to attract simply because of what it is that we've given our attention to. You change your attention, you change your vibration, you change your outcome, you change your results. Lifestyle follows beliefs. Let me follow you for a day, and I can tell you what it is that you believe. As you sow, so shall you reap. And again, we talked about that shall. So will you reap. It's not a matter of if. This is a law that cannot be changed. This is how universe works. And in this universe, it says, as a person sows, be it unto you according to your belief, be it unto you according to your faith, so shall you reap, so shall you produce. So if creators, you're not happy with what it is that you're producing in your life right now, go back to the origin. What is it that I'm sowing? What is it that I'm giving my attention to morning, noon, and night? Now, a lot of times, like I said, many times people say, well, a few moments at the evening that I can, think about lovely and a good report. But all through the day, I've had my mind on chaos. You could try that. But if it's not working for you, only thing I'm saying to you, test and see if what I'm saying is true. Many times people throw out theories and so forth, but they haven't proven them. Only thing I'm asking, don't believe me because of what I say. Test it for yourself. And if it doesn't work for you, scrap it and try something else. And I'll say the same thing with any principle that you discover. If that principle isn't working for you, Don't let others beat you up and say you're doing it wrong and everything else. Try something new. But understand this, no matter what it is that you're trying, you're a vibrational system, your energy system, your spiritual being having a human experience. You have to line up with the thing that you're trying to attract in your life. This is not Coach DeCarlo, this is not Neville, this is not anyone else. This is divine laws. These are principles that have been proven for tens of thousands of years. Now, when they find themselves being disproven, then we can talk about that, but you're not going to disprove it. So whatever it is that you want, get into the vibrational match of that thing, and that thing will in fact be yours. Only you can create your perfect world. Not God or man. Only you can create your perfect world. This is Coach DeCarlo saying have a great and abundant day.